This was an important day for the boss. He knew as he walked through the door that a trio of Chinese businessmen would be awaiting him in the side office. He was more excited than nervous. Dominic offered Charles a coffee, to which the boss replied, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Charles welcomed the businessmen and made a little small talk about the weather and the morning's heavy traffic, before he settled into his leather chair, feeling more relaxed now. Before negotiations commenced, in came the office boy with Charles's drink, strong and black, no sugar. Dom placed the beverage in front of Charles and made a hasty retreat back to his workstation, from where he could just about make out the voices talking softly behind the boss's door. Charles finished his coffee with a customary "ah." "Gentlemen, I think we can do business. I like what I see in these charts, and I like what I'm hearing," said Charles, who now, quite suddenly, felt ill. His guts violently gurgled. "Gentlemen, please excuse me." Charles rushed for the door, past the concerned potential clients. The toilet was only 15 feet away. But he knew already that he wasn't going to make it. Oh, fuck no. Not only had he just soiled himself, but he'd done it in front of almost the entire office, including his good lady wife. Everyone had heard it, and even though Charles was now in the toilet cubicle, everyone could surely smell it. There was an awful heat behind it. His bowels strained again. Liquid shit sprayed the bowl a greenish brown. He simply had to leave. One cannot shit oneself and then hang around and try to save face. He burst out of the toilet, straight out of the office doors, down the steps, and jumped into his car. He had forgot to lock it, which wasn't unusual. Charles started the engine and flew out of the car park. Just as he turned left onto the main road, he noticed a brown paper bag on the passenger seat with a little note attached. The note read, "A little friend." Charles opened the bag without thinking, as if the smell wasn't bad enough in the car anyway. Now it was at least twice as bad. A huge lump of crap, possibly a dog turd, perhaps a human effort, lay before the horrified boss. He had to get out of the car. Opening a window wouldn't be good enough. He hit the brakes, killed the engine, jumped out, fell to his hands and knees, and proceeded to unceremoniously vomit a brown bile all over the pavement. The shame of it. Charles rose to his feet, just in time to see a taxi full of Chinese businessmen leaving. Yeah, the deal was probably fucked. Charles didn't care much now. Just then, the boss's mobile rang. He let it ring 5 or 6 times as he stood there, trying to take in the waking nightmare which had just happened. Finally, he took the call. "Charles, babe, it's Shaz. Sweetie, you there, hun?" Charles grunted, letting her know he was there. "Are you coming back, babe? What happened?" Sharon said in a motherly tone. "Going home. I'm ill. Don't call again." And with that, Charles hung up, slowly clambered back into his very expensive, very smelly car, and slowly made his way back to Chestnut Close. After washing his clothes, taking a long hot shower, and snorting a couple of lines of cocaine, Charles began to feel himself again, but the humiliation of the nasty episode still loomed large in his mind. Charles now sat down, turned on his laptop, and went to check his emails. At the top of the list, in block capitals was a message from Dom the office boy. It read, "A parting gift." Charles clicked on it. It was a video. With a degree of apprehension, he pressed play. The scene before the boss was the office, almost everyone standing around sniggering. Now the camera focused in on one computer screen. Charles stared in disbelief at a photoshopped naked picture of himself, none too flattering. It was his head all right, but he wasn't as hairy or fat as the photo would have people believe. And his penis was bigger than 2 inches in reality. The camera pans around to a smiling Dominic, who gives a cheeky wink as the clip ends. The coffee, the brown paper bag with a nasty surprise inside, and the fake photo. All Dominic. Charles felt like his head and maybe his heart were about to explode. By contrast, our office boy had never felt better. In his mind, he had won. The petty tyrant had been firmly put in his place.